6/12 pitch, cedar accents, and colored spray foam in the inside, this is one of our most boldest tubular buildings yet.
Getting here wasn't easy. Stick around for all the little details, the challenges it took, and the final price.
Let's break it all down for you. Welcome back, Pack. This is Admiral from WolfSteel Buildings, and we got Jared back on the channel. Welcome back, Jared.
Thank you for having me.
I know you missed being on the channel. And also Ed, behind the scenes on the camera. Welcome again, guys. I am happy to be back on the channel, and we got this special build because this is one of our boldest tubular builds yet, in my opinion, especially with all the color accents that we're going to talk about. The 6/12 pitch, color spray foam in the inside, cedar encasements on the lean-to. So a lot of details you don't want to miss out, and of course, the price. Ultimately, we want to know, what does it cost to do a build like this? And as you notice here today, I'm wearing a sombrero hat, and that's in honor of the state we service. So we service most of the state of Texas, not all of it, but we do service most of what Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, that triangle, down to Longview, a little bit over to like Texarkana area.
Well, I'd like to say I'm wearing a Yankees hat, more just because I like the color. And it was a gift.
By the way, Yankees ain't sponsoring us, right?
Whoop, whoop. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
By the way, if anybody wants to sponsor us, anybody, we're open to it. Alrighty, back to the tour now. We're gonna be doing a tour on the technical specs of this whole project that we did here. Now, before we get into the building, I do wanna just quickly talk about the concrete work. So we did do this nice driveway, definitely connecting to their existing driveway. And as you can see, the finished floor elevation of this build is a lot higher than their home finished floor. And for that, we definitely had to bring in a lot of dirt, especially you can see the terrain that it was higher on this side of their property. There was a lot of site prep that we had to do. And we're gonna talk about the stairs, because that's the reason why the lean-to section is a little bit on the lower side, which just reduces the amount of site prep that we had to do. And then the stairs to allow the access through, obviously, their service doors on both entrances through the lean-to. We're gonna be talking about that, but definitely, I know the price is gonna be showing on the screen for the concrete foundation. And this is for about a 32 by 45 with cross internal beams like usual, interior footings, and everything that you already know about our concrete foundations. You're seeing it. Alrighty, now, let's talk about what is standing out here, and that's the building. Jared, take it off. What are the dimensions for this build?
We got a 24 wide, 45 deep, and it's 10 foot tall to the eaves. It is a 6/12 pitch on the main building. So kind of like we were saying, you know, you're walking up to it and it's like the castle on top of a, on top of a hill, right? So looks pretty nice. Obviously the biggest standout is the 10 by 10 cedar door. That actually wasn't originally like that. Originally, no, it was a black or white door. I can't remember. He was leaving our processing department and he was like, hey, I have these doors on my house.
Can I get something similar?
Yeah, can I get something similar? So we just asked him to send us, there's like a model number sticker on it. And he sent it to us and we matched it. So it's a pretty exact match.
And that's actually the beauty of overhead doors, that you can customize it. You can get a lot of custom designs compared to roll-up doors. In this case, this is what really makes this building pop out, especially since we got the black and white accents of the panels. And then the door is just a standout color. And it just kind of mesmerizes you to just focus on that door.
We get it. Starting a new metal building project can feel overwhelming with concrete here, installation there, permits somewhere else. At WolfSteel, we can take that headache away. From site prep to the last screw, we bring every service under one roof here in Texas for Texans, so you can have your metal building without the stress. We handle tubular buildings, red iron weld up and bolt up buildings, permitting assistance, full concrete slabs with site prep, plus any demolition if needed. Concrete coating options, various installation options, a gutter system for your building, custom doors, windows, and even cedar accents if you want a more rustic look. You need more, like mezzanines, balconies, or masonry, we got that too. We do not service outside of our service area, nor provide material or kits only, and our services do not stand alone. We focus on full turnkey Texas metal building projects. WolfSteel is the easy choice. Texans, we've got you covered. If you fall within the service area, contact us today. If not, I hope our channel is helpful for your metal building project.
Now, before we get into like going deeper into the colors and that, let's go back to the 612, Jared. I know 612 is not our standard option. Our standard option for all our builds are 312 pitch, especially here in Texas, since we don't have a lot of snow load. 612 pitch is really common up north for like snow runoff. But 612 has become a lot more and more common, especially when you see homes nowadays that got higher pitches. Is this an additional cost? What is this, this process for a 612 pitch?
It is an additional cost. I mean, not just it's a lot more work.
Yeah.
Right, so a lot more work, it's a lot more material. Usually on this building, it would go around 13 foot in the center. Mm-hmm. Right now it's around 16. So it's a lot more work, and then you also need equipment to kind of raise it, especially depending on the width. Yep.
Yeah, this one, I mean, you could get away with equipment or without equipment, and you maybe not necessarily, right? So do you remember if this one we had to use equipment?
I think we
Labor.
didn't. We didn't because
we couldn't access through here.
Yeah, we couldn't access really back here unless we got, to get the SkyTrack back here and on this driveway and everything, it was a little riskier, and there was really no other access point, so I don't think
that's
we
what
did.
made it hard. So usually if that's not the case, what happens is that we get extra labor, so more help, and also you take a little bit more of your time to do this type of work, because it can be a little dangerous to be up there on a 612 pitch and sheet metal, which is actually slippery. That's the challenge with sheet metal. Sheet metal is a little bit more dangerous to work with, especially when you can cut yourself or how slippery it can be up there. For that reason, it's important that your builder does have insurance. Okay, now Jared, this is definitely our black and white. This is the vertical panels, which is definitely going to be a little bit more of an upgrade than the horizontal paneling for being a tubular build, because that we do offer both.
Correct.
But I'm looking at the panel, and this looks a little bit more rugged.
Rigid.
Yeah, rigid. What is this kind of panel?
Sorry. This is the PBR panel style, so it's more boxy, it's more squared off. This is our standard on like a red iron. So originally the client, he wanted PBR. He specifically asked for PBR. He was looking at the 26 gauge AG panel and then the 26 gauge PBR panel, and he specifically asked for the PBR.
PBR panel.
Yep.
And that's what we got here. So it's got the panels of the red iron that's standard and put onto a tubular build, and then definitely the 26 gauge, which is really, really recommended, especially for Texas hail. Just a thicker gauge panel. The smaller the number, the thicker the steel. So that's definitely gonna make your panels a lot more sturdier. And then on top of that, which we're gonna be talking about in the inside, it's got a spray foam. So spray foam combined with 26 gauge panel.
It's a lot stronger.
It's a lot stronger. Jared, we got the two-tone.
I kind of like the wainscot. He's got a black and white house. More from looking at it, I thought it would have been more like all white, because he's got a black roof and then just all white walls.
Yeah.
But I think it really looks nice.
Well, you sound very excited, Jared. Because I like the two-tone wainscot. I'm a huge fan of it, especially because of just giving it a different edge to the building. And then we got definitely the base trim that we do basically standard on all our builds now. It's just standard as a line item. Obviously you can take it off if you want or not. Do I have to get my rough-in for my electrical for my builds?
The answer is no.
Yeah, the biggest thing is to know where you're gonna get your power source. So that's gonna determine where your electrical box is gonna be able to be placed in a cost-effective manner. So always plan for that. Where's the source going to come from? And if that's going to be the case where you're going to have it, you know, where you're going to run your box, your breaker. But here, you can actually do it on the afterwards, which is just coming out here and just doing a nice, here they did a pretty good job, by the way. And then the box is in the inside. But you can also run it through the inside, just like plumbing, which is definitely recommended to be done prior. All right, so from the property on this backside, it's a really high elevation, and that's the reason why we have stairs here to keep this lean-to a little bit on the lower side, and we just custom extend the legs a little bit more longer to accommodate. What size is this lean-to, Jared? Talk to me about this lean-to and the size and what was done here.
So it's an 8 wide, 45 deep, and then if I'm correct, it's 9 to the low side of this lean-to.
It's actually 8, so it's 9 connected to 8 foot.
But if you factor in the drop,
he did that on purpose to trick me. I know that.
yeah, it's a 1 foot drop from the main building to the low side of the concrete here.
No, you do got a point there. So there's just custom elevations for the foundation, and definitely where we had to make adjustments. You're definitely right here. So Jared, is this cedar posts or cedar encasements here?
So this was an engineered building. So the way it is right now is there's actually like this same square tube framing inside, and it's a cedar encasement.
Outside of it, right?
Outside
so
of it.
That way, what's the spacing here? I think it's like 8 inches.
No. This is a 12.
Okay.
And then if I'm correct, this is 4 inches deep, 12 inches wide.
What I mean is the tubes inside.
Oh.
The spacing of the
I think
tubes.
it's like 10 inches.
10
Yeah.
inches, okay. And that's where the cedar encasements have been installed and fitted really nice. Take a look up there how we had to do it. Couldn't the client have done a cedar header going above? And I know if maybe you want to show from here.
We offered it. He didn't proceed with it
Okay.
right now. What he ended up doing is this is the square tubing right here, this black framing. So he actually primed it and painted it black. So it actually looks really nice.
It looks really good.
It looks really nice. But in the future, let's say 2 years down the road, you're like, hey, I want to encase it. You can always put cedar encasement on it still.
On it. So because each cedar post or cedar encasement here, it's running around like don't quote me, marketing help me out, but it's like from $700 and $900 per one of these.
Encasement.
A lot of good labor that goes involved. You can see from the B-rolls, and then also definitely staining it. To do the cedar is definitely going to add a lot more cost. Or you could just paint it. And this he primed it. Do you know what material or what he used to prime it?
Rust-Oleum primer,
Okay.
and then Rust-Oleum black paint.
Nice.
Yeah, since it's galvanized, the primer adheres a lot better first.
Okay.
And then you just paint the primer coating.
All tubular buildings have spacings every 5 foot where the columns, because you can see the trusses, that's really the spacing of the tubular builds. And then we would have a base row here, but here our client wanted this open space to be able to definitely view of their home. What is the spacing and how is this accomplished, Jared?
This is these are around 15 feet apart. So if it's 45 long, you got 3 spaces, you got 4 columns.
Yeah.
So the way it was achieved, they ran this header bar. So
Yeah.
this 15-foot header right here goes from one post, cuts out like 2 columns,
Yep.
and then it goes to this one right here, right? And then after that, that's where we just encased them. So it's 3 separate headers. So this header runs from there to there, it stops, and then there's another one.
That makes sense.
And then there's another one. And
And
then
then
we just
it's
encase
anchored
them.
here.
Yep, yeah, they're anchored here, and then the encasement just hides all of it.
That came way after. So we did the build, and then our tubular builders do not do the encasements. We came in afterwards and we did the encasements afterwards.
Yeah, the guys just run the headers, since it's part of all the framing, the actual installation portion. We come in, we do the encasement, and then afterwards, we run the gutters.
Which honestly, this is beautiful because now it's just fully clear. Kind of like our red iron structures that are spaced at 20 foot. Here, I think we're at like 15, right? You just said
15.
It's just completely open, nothing to obstruct, and you just have a nice view of their property.
Yeah, you could do, I mean, you could do bigger. You could do a 20-foot header, but that would be engineered different. It wouldn't just be like a double bar. Like
That makes
this is.
sense. Makes a lot of sense. We definitely have our gutters and downspouts. You can see the gutters and downspouts here. The gutters is really good because it allows you to control the water. Especially something to keep in mind when we're doing foundations is that we're not doing the like landscaping. Okay, especially like this specific property, we definitely had to bring a lot of fill. When we're done with just the fill, and we're still waiting for the concrete to cure, and we're still gonna do the building, we still gotta do the spray foam, we still gotta do electrical and plumbing, all that work. The landscaping is usually the last phase. During that phase, it's like a 1 to like 3 month phase. At that time, you can have a lot of erosion from just the fill that was brought in. Your landscaping is what's going to allow to help control any erosion around your foundation to protect it. And especially gutters do help a lot because the gutters and downspouts allow you to have all the water drained in specific locations. And as you can see, our client connected with a drain pipe to just get the water away from and really just keep the foundation from having any erosion and protecting the foundation. Again, the foundation is the most important part. The price of foundations have risen in the last years. So you definitely want to protect it, not have any putting your foundation at risk.
Yeah, I'm not a grass guy, you know, don't hate on me, but if you look right here, there's like a small divide on the type of grass. So this actually used to be just a bunch of dirt. Yeah, and we had what's the little fence called? The silt
fence.
Yeah, we had that
so
pretty much running all the way, and that was pretty much controlling all the erosion. So if you look at the pictures, it was just holding up a lot of dirt. But I think the client did his own landscaping on all this. Yeah, after that, that's when we took off the fence.
So here again, we got a nice service door. The elevation's pretty high here, which is kind of like, it's looking like around 10 inches. So it's insulated internally, and then the exterior is steel skin. So it's a steel door or 2 windows. They're black. We only offer double pane windows for our tubular builds. We don't offer the single pane window. Jared, why is that?
Well, I mean, the double panes are just a lot nicer. Usually single panes are a little bit more on the lower budget side, I guess we could say. And then usually they're more like mass quantity produced, and then they would have like small defects.
And then again, this is 8 foot wide. In a tubular build, you can go up to like a 12 foot wide, and it's gonna be about the same price, okay? I think here we've had maybe restrictions on the dimensions because of planning or permitting, but technically like an 8 wide is almost priced as a 12 wide.
Pretty much is, just because it's the kind of fabricated the same. It's a single bar.
Single bar.
And there was a lot of restrictions with HOA, maybe even the city also. You're gonna see in here he's got like a bathroom in there.
Yeah.
Originally we didn't have that as part of the permit.
Okay.
But you know, the client started framing up the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then the city was like, hey, we added the bathroom as part of the permit, you know. So then they sent us over the requirements on everything he needed to do, drywall inspection, all these inspections. I was like, all right, well, what can you do, you know?
It's starting to become like that here in Texas, especially here in the area of Flower Mound, Texas, where we're located right now. So there's definitely going to be a lot of restrictions. We've been building a lot here, but definitely expect a long process for your permitting process here in the Flower Mound, Colleyville, this area around here. Take it off, Jared. Talk to me about the inside. Come on in. Just keep in mind, guys, that like spray foam is gonna make like a Yeti box in here. It's not necessarily gonna make it cooler or hotter. It's just gonna control the temperature that's here. So in overnight, if everything is cool in here, it's hot outside already. You can see that we were already sweating. It's still cool in here because there's no penetration. It's all like controlled in here. Allows you to thermal control the environment of this project. He got 1 inch all the way around, but the roof he's got 2 inch.
2 inches on the roof, okay.
2 inches on the roof, which is 1 inch is gonna be R7, and then the roof is gonna be R14. And then this is the ice gray spray foam, which has gotten a lot of popularity. Better than the yellow. Well, I mean, mean, I like the yellow, but you know, definitely color adds on. It's definitely going to be a little bit more pricier.
I think it depends also, because there's some yellows that are like this yellow right here. It's like a really, like it's like a DeWalt yellow.
Like the mustard yellow?
Yeah, it's like a mustard yellow, like a DeWalt yellow, and it's, I mean, there's also like some that are like really light yellow that are kind of like, even in some pictures, they look white almost.
Yeah. However, like throughout the like time, it just starts getting darker and darker and darker. And just expect that. Even like for when you paint, you might see like it will also start absorbing. You might have to touch up the paint later on. It's just by nature. That's the pros and cons of painting it. But definitely right now for the next couple of years, it's still gonna be really, really nice and stand out. Now let's talk about the door. So this again, Jared, talk to me about the door.
I think the proper term for it is cedar. It's like a cedar, I don't know. It's a special type of cedar, but it's an R10. You can kind of tell it because it's got the full, it's got like this double backing system. If it was just an R6-7, yeah, it would have, you'd still be able to see kind of like the panels broken up a little bit better. So it's an R10,
And it's not hot.
It's not.
No, it's not.
On the outside, it was. On the outside, it was really hot. On the inside, not so much. So that's the whole point of insulation. And then it's just regular tracks. I mean, he could have went a little higher,
but not to make a difference, in my opinion.
It doesn't really make a difference. The only thing that you got to factor in, I mean, I don't know if he would have or if he wouldn't have. You know, if you put some lights right here, you have your door open, then it kind of blocks them. So it's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, it's a standard track, 15-inch radius.
Keep in mind also, like whenever you're placing your doors, in tubular builds, we're always gonna have the corner bracing. This corner bracing is really for lateral support to your structure. And so that usually will take up about 1 foot to 2 from your corner. When we have multiple doors, in this case, he only had one single door, so it just makes it really really easy to install. But if he would have had 2 doors, you know, that is something that, you know, you kind of have to account for, is your corner bracing to make sure that it fits, okay? Usually we will take care of that, so we will watch out for that, where, you know, your door should fit in between the framing members. Also, roof bracing, but nah, this case is a little bit on the lower. This is also 12 gauge, so this comes with a 20-year rust warranty on the framings. It is 12 gauge for the frame, which is heavier than the 14 gauge. You can see he ran this electrical box, and you know, we sprayed afterwards. So all the electricity has been ran before, and then we came in and spray foam.
The conduit.
The conduit.
Oh, the conduit, yeah. So, you know, those, we have a YouTube video on it. Should you run your conduit first or after? Pick it from James, but he recommends everyone now, after he's gotten his building and he ran his conduit after, he recommends everyone to run your conduit first, spray foam after. Unless you really just want that look where, you know, your conduit's fully exposed, more commercial, I guess you could say. But especially if you're getting like colored spray foam, you know, it's a lot nicer to just run your conduit first, spray it after, and it all looks pretty cohesive.
I like the industrial look, so I like seeing conduits exposed. But I do understand why, you know, it's basically, you know, it just depends on your electrician, how well he can work around, but it's just gonna be really hard to bolt against all spray foam and not damage it.
I think it also depends though, like what kind of like conduit you're running. I'm not an electrician, so I don't know what the proper term for it, but like this, what's this flexible
MC cable?
stuff? Okay, yeah, this. I think if you're running like a true like pipe conduit, I think it looks really nice, like exposed. But if you're running,
it's the flex. I think it's like the MC.
Flex. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. We're getting into electrical. We're doing all the training. We're doing all that process, which, by the way, if you're interested in electrical, let us know, because we are in beta. We're only accepting certain clients. Give us a call if that's something you're interested. But again, it's just certain projects. We've only done a couple right now, and slowly progressing through that phase. So that's where he's doing his small restroom here. Yeah,
this needed a drywall survey, a board survey, a flush survey. I don't know what all they requested, but it looks really nice.
Texas, the state we service. Ed, take us back into telling us what happened to get here where we're standing today.
When starting your process and searching Google or YouTube, most of you already have a vision in mind. Just like our client here. He wanted a tubular metal building that could serve as a workshop, plus a lean-to designed as a family hangout spot. Our client connected with David and Jane from our dream team and refined his vision into a plan. A 32 by 45 building with a 612 roof pitch to match his house pitch, cedar wrapped lean-to columns for aesthetics, and even a custom overhead door finished to match his home's color scheme. Before we could ever break ground, we had to tackle one of the toughest challenges that comes with building inside city limits: permitting requirements and inspections. And this project in the city of Flower Mound was no exception. The city required full engineering building and foundation plans, a drainage plan, and an access plan showing exactly how heavy equipment would get onto the property. Every arrow, every entry point had to be clearly marked and approved before a shovel ever touched the ground, plus add in the permit application itself. And let's not forget that AT&T had to move one of their lines that 811 had marked since it was in the location of the current building placement. All these things added time and money to the project. The client did get permitting through us, so together we got to tackling all these things. Once we got all the plans and paperwork set, we were at the mercy of the city timelines. But here at WolfSteel, we communicate all the information we get so it can be smooth and stress-free as possible. Some of the building requirements we had to follow were a minimum roof slope of 312, a maximum height of 20 feet to the peak, rear setbacks of at least 3 feet from the property line, side setback of at least 3 feet from the property line. Now, if it was closer than 5 feet, you can't have doors or windows on that side. Front setback stated an accessory building can't be placed closer to the front line than your main house. Finally, all accessory buildings had to stay at least 5 feet away from any other structure on the property. The permits weren't approved until late February, which meant from November all the way to February, we were just waiting for the city to approve those permits before we could even break ground. But once the city finally stamped the permits and we had them in hand, it was game on. So we thought. This site was going to take more manpower to get this building ready. The lot was 36 inches off level in the front and 18 inches in the back. That meant that the entire front half of the pad had to be raised, and nearly 80 yards of fill dirt had to be hauled in to bring it all up to grade. That's about 8 dump trucks full of dirt, just to give us a level playing field. And the hoops didn't stop there. The city required that before every single yard of concrete could be poured, a pre-pour inspection had to be scheduled and passed. On top of that, an erosion control pad had to be installed and inspected, and since the client was adding plumbing and electrical, we also had to clear a full set of rough-in inspections too. Between the site prep and all those inspections, there was still one challenge we couldn't avoid: the weather. As us Texans may remember, March and April dumped enough rain to turn this site into a mud pit, and that meant that the timeline got pushed even further, all the way into May. The ground was simply too soft and too messy to bring in concrete trucks without risking them getting buried axle deep. Once the skies cleared, our crew got back on track. The first order of business was regrading the pad and getting the site ready again. The main foundation was finally poured in May. It measures 24 by 45 feet, 5 inches thick, and rated at 3,500 psi for strength. Because of the site's level, the foundation needed extra support on those footers. The front half has 24-inch deep footings, and the back goes even deeper with 48-inch deep footings to reach solid undisturbed ground. That extra depth is what keeps the building stable long term, especially on a pad with so much fill dirt. As a standard, we also added notches around the slab. It's a small detail, but it makes a big difference. Those notches let the wall panels and doors sit flush with the concrete, creating a tighter seal and helping protect the building against the water for years to come. The lean-to foundation measures 8 by 45 feet, was 4 inches thick and rated at 3,500 psi. Also, due to the level in the front, it has 18-inch footings, and in the back, they go deeper to 24 inches, so it matches the main structure. The client did add his personal touch with a 12 by 20 driveway approach and custom steps leading into the lean-to. But that's the beauty of WolfSteel. We don't just customize your building, we customize your foundation to match how you actually use the space. The pricing includes the footers, which you may not need. This is why we say pricing varies by location and is valid for 5 days. Another concern was access. If you remember from permitting, the building sits behind the home, meaning we had a driveway to get through. The client wasn't sure how the concrete trucks would reach the site without tearing up his new existing driveway. We brought in a concrete pump to transport the concrete exactly where it needed to go, clean, efficient, and without a mess. However, the concrete truck pulled in too close, cracking the corner of his new driveway we had just poured. Willie, our concrete manager, talked to our client and got it squared away on us. No pun intended. But there you have it. After months of planning, inspections, delays, and getting every detail just right, the moment finally came. By mid-June, the foundation had cured, the stage was set, and it was time for the building you see here. The total cost of this project came out to...
Alrighty, Pack, so that is the end. I know this is going to be a long video, but again, our goal is to showcase the whole project from the storyline of what happened, the challenges. That way you understand how your process can be if you're doing a metal building project. Also the technical, which is why we have Jared on the channel as well, because we love to talk about a little bit more on the details of what we're building. And there's even more that we didn't cover, but definitely a lot of other videos on our channel also cover many different things. We focus on what really stood out for this project. And to finalize, I know we went through the tour and at the same time prices were shown. Jared, any final comments on this project or anything you have to say to our audience?
Thank y'all for watching. More cedar doors.
You like them, right?
Yeah, I think especially with the cedar encasements. Yeah, when you're driving up to it, the cedar door is kind of what takes it away first, but then you start looking at the lean-to and it kind of just puts it all together.
I've always said that like overhead doors is really what's gonna, like custom overhead doors is really what's gonna make your building pop out, you know, especially with metal buildings. Now there is panels and those things that you can do, but definitely your overhead door is definitely, you're gonna want some sort of a door. That's a need, not a want. And might as well just add that little extra to your budget to make it really stand out like this project right here. So aside from that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. And we'll see you guys in the next video.
Time.